I'm Roland Harwood. I'm from 100% Open. We're an open innovation agency based here in Huckletree in London. So the best definition of innovation that we use is simply ideas plus impact. So having new ideas, bringing them through, realising them to create commercial or social impact. And what we do is open innovation, so doing that collaboratively with people inside and outside of your organisation. So the way that 100% Open helps clients to innovate, to do open innovation, we do three things. We think, jam and crowd, we call it. So think is help organisations develop the strategy and capability to do innovation. So we run training, we do classic strategic consulting around innovation, open innovation. Jam is running and facilitating lots and lots of online and offline kind of events and workshops, bringing different groups of people together to develop ideas and realise those, test those. And then crowd is doing that at scale. With thousands, tens of thousands of people using technology in all different shapes of form, all different shapes and forms. So the idea of innovation has been around for 20 plus years. Some more recently, trends like open innovation, user-driven innovation have become quite fashionable, crowdsourcing as well. And more recently, a lot of big companies are getting behind startup accelerators, incubators, corporate venture capital funds. So there's lots of new trends happening all the time around innovation, open innovation. We've ridden the wave of many of those developments, hopefully pioneered the way around open innovation in particular. And it's an exciting time, and it's only getting bigger and bigger all the time. Yeah, so three examples of things that we've done is work with Lego on taking a small crowdsourcing community called Lego Ideas, which is now a 2 million plus community of people sharing ideas for new Lego products and services. With the UBS, we've run a global startup competition to find interesting high growth potential startup companies that have technologies that can solve challenges that will address the future of finance. With Ford, we've looked at the emerging mobility and transport needs of citizens in New York City and Detroit. So those are three projects that we're very excited to have had the opportunity to work on over the last few years. Some of the biggest challenges that corporates face are prioritising process over culture. So many organisations will put in place an innovation process, but not kind of back that up by empowering people to develop the skills and the capabilities and the permission to have ideas. Sometimes they may be bad ideas, but they can be turned around and developed and shared. Organisations often prioritise quality over quantity too early, so they'll kill an idea early because it's not good enough, which tends to inhibit people to want to share and contribute, which is a bad thing. And also connecting the sort of top-down rhetoric and vision with the kind of bottom-up grassroots activity and ideas. So a lot of organisations say they want innovation, but they don't really mean it. They don't want to take risk. They don't really want to invest time and money. So it's really about connecting that vision from the chief executive through to the ideas of anybody in the organisation and outside to create new impact together. The best way to innovate is to lead by example, start small, scale big. So if it's chief executive, creating a forum, a space, a technology platform even, to share ideas, develop ideas, and if the senior people are actively participating in that, others will follow naturally. Need to be aware of hierarchy and some of those structures that can get in the way sometimes, but they can also be very powerful enablers. Running lots of kind of pilots and projects, giving permission to try new things, but also having clear kind of metrics of success and stopping as many things as you're starting, and over time developing that culture where this is habitual, this is every day, it's everyone's job, it's not just the role of a team or a department or a few very creative or entrepreneurial individuals, it's everybody's job, and everyone's not only expected to do that, they're empowered to do it, and they're measured on doing that as well. So there are lots and lots of measures around innovation. Fundamentally, it's about creating new business value. That might be commercial value, it might be brand value, it might be social value, it might be all three of those ideally. It often is. So it's really not that complicated. I think the mistake many people make is they'll track the number of ideas, the number of workshops, the number of people, the number of projects. Those are all useful benchmarks along the way. But just because a workshop has created 100 ideas and a second workshop has created 10 ideas, that doesn't mean that the first workshop was 10 times better than the second workshop. So you need to be wary of those kind of input measures. Fundamentally, it's about making money, it's about building your reputation, and it's about solving important problems for you, the organisation, and more generally. Yeah, I think top-level sponsorship is essential. Some research we saw recently said that something like 90% of all FTSE 500 companies champion innovation as a strategic priority, but there's a big difference between saying that and actually doing it and living it and breathing it. Having that top-level endorsement is absolutely critical for innovation, but then actively creating the structures, the platforms, the tools, the permissions internally to realise that is what innovation teams and the people that we work with is 100% open. That's what is really the make or break between it just happening by accident, under the radar, by stealth, which can happen and does happen, but really kind of bringing that to scale across the organisation requires coordination, it requires leadership, it requires vision, it requires investment. Yeah, so innovation is a U-shaped process. It's fun and easy at the beginning when you're having ideas. It's fun and easy at the end when you're creating best-selling new products and services. It's generally really difficult in the middle where you're still not sure about what it is you're doing and why you're doing it, and it's still, so you need to create a safe space to kind of nurture and develop ideas and teams to develop those ideas. My advice to organisations that want to genuinely innovate rather than just say they're innovating is to start at the end, be clear about the customer need, the business need, be very clear about what the business, commercial, social, tangible value of solving a particular problem is, and then work backwards to find the ideas, the innovators, the tools, the systems, the processes to realise that. So there's a lot of value in taking it that way forward, and then the process is a pull rather than a push. Rather than forcing an idea that nobody asked for, you're offering a solution that solves a need, a burning need that the business has. So start at the end would be my advice. A challenge-led approach to innovation it can be really effective, especially when you have a known unknown, a sort of tangible problem where you don't know what the solution is. So you can put that problem out on a crowdsourcing platform or through your organisation and see who has the best possible solution or ideas in response to that. There are other tools and techniques that you can use, so challenges aren't appropriate in all circumstances, but they can certainly be a very powerful enabler of innovation inside and outside of organisations. Yeah. Other tools and techniques that we find work well are more classic competition, where there's a tangible kind of question and reward, along the lines of what we do with UBS Future Finance Challenge. Online crowdsourcing communities can be especially effective to let kind of good ideas bubble up, good insights kind of bubble up and emerge from the crowd. So technology has been absolutely transformative in all aspects of business, all aspects of life. In the last 25 years, we've become connected far more than ever before. What that means for innovation is you no longer necessarily have to be the most creative, most entrepreneurial organisation. What you do need to do is tap into great ideas, great people, great talent wherever it is in the world. Technology can help you do that. You need to be able to separate the signal from the noise, so you still need to apply your strategic kind of business strategy and your soft skills working with people perhaps outside of your organisation. But technology is a phenomenal tool that has really transformed the way that innovation happens inside and outside of organisations. But it is just that, it is a tool. You need the strategy, you need the culture, you need the team, you need the processes in order to realise that value that technology brings you. So technologies like IdeaDrop and other crowdsourcing platform providers are a fantastic way to gather and harvest ideas from a much bigger group of people than would ever be possible previously. So it assists massively in work that we've done with IdeaDrop with people like the Met Police, which is fantastic. So yeah, it's an amazing tool, and it simply enables you to do stuff that 10 years ago, 20 years ago simply was not possible. So in terms of getting buy-in across the organisation, I'd say start small. You'll never get buy-in from the whole organisation on day one unless you can demonstrate success. So find a small team of committed people, develop something successful with them, and then success sells. So once you've got your first or second kind of successful projects off the ground, other people will naturally follow and fall into line. So even though you want that top level sponsorship and support, start small, demonstrate success, but scale it from there. So the relationship between corporates and startups, they both need each other more than ever. We call it the suits and the sneakers. So big companies need the creativity, the agility, the ideas, the technology that small companies can bring. A lot of small companies need the infrastructure, the investment, the customer base, the brand that a big company can bring. So there can be a sort of marriage made in heaven when you bring those together. It can also be extremely difficult and painful if it goes wrong. So the number one kind of advice on both sides would be to seek to build kind of reciprocal relationships where you're creating value on both sides. Often if the dice are loaded too heavily in the favor of one partner, that relationship will fall down before too long if both sides aren't seeing the value from that. But what constitutes value for one partner might mean money and tangible financial reward, usually the smaller partner. What constitutes value for the bigger partner may be beyond money. It might be around brand and reputation and culture and other values. So seek to give to get, be very generous with your relationships, but try and kind of be a marriage of equals between large and small companies, which is easier said than done, but very important for that to succeed. So in terms of how do corporates build up relationships with startups, there are lots and lots of networks out there that bring together startup communities. A lot of the corporate innovation professionals that we know spend a lot of their time kind of networking, connecting with those sorts of communities. It's time consuming, and if you work for a big company, you can often be a bit of a target at those events that people really want to talk to you, which can sometimes be quite exhausting as well. So create a space, be clear about what you want and you need, direct people towards it. So the Lego Ideas platform is a great example of a company that was bombarded with ideas all the time and was overwhelmed by that. So what they did was proactively create a technology platform and a series of business needs and challenges, and created a place and a space and a process for people to engage with the Lego group, and it's been phenomenally successful as a result of that. So you need to work the networks, you need to build your own network as an individual and as a company, but you also need technology platforms and processes in order to manage the signal from the noise, because there is a lot of noise and that's not an efficient use of anyone's time. So my advice for business leaders that are thinking about investing in innovation more seriously than they currently have is to connect more and control less. So connect people internally, externally, ideas, talent, technology. Innovation is fundamentally all about connecting, and listen to what people are telling you and respond to what they're telling you. But also don't try and control every aspect of it. If you do that, you'll kill the spark, you'll kill the culture, you'll kill the goodwill that is required to realise any idea from early stage to realisation. So connect more, control less.
Great. Roland, thanks very much for taking the time out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.